Hello there, welcome back to the Pauper Flophouse Fun. I'm Jecht and this is a different type of Rakdos Control deck. So this series goes along with a companion series of Rakdos Control decks. The other one more focused on black, as in it was more along the lines of like a mono black control type deck. It had more chittering rats, more ragers. Had more discard, but if you want to play Rakdos, you can also go a different direction and play a more red, aggressive focus rather than attrition deck. Now, it's still a control deck. It still has a bunch of removal spells. There's like still Terminates, there's still Firebolts, there's even Vicar's Justice, which is more controlling than the other one. But it's also a bit faster at closing out games. So you can take whatever position in a particular match you want to. So I've been working on this deck a little while. I know this deck looks all over the place, but believe me, I have thought things through at least a little bit. So I've been working on this deck for a while because somebody who's been watching the recent videos said to me, he always wanted to play Blightnings. He thought Blightnings is a sweet card and couldn't find like a home for it. So I took that as some kind of challenge to see if I could like win some matches with Blightnings in my deck. And from like the first basic iteration of the plan, lots of cards have been plussed and minused by various numbers to get to where we are now. So we have the mana base, which is nice 22 lands. That's like 4 Carnariums, a couple of bogs since we're black and they're like very useful. We are likely to get into attrition matchups, even though we're a bit faster at killing opponents, theoretically. We have fewer basic swamps though, since we no longer need to like turn 3 chittering rats, and we're not really needing to duress immediately. So we are more likely to need double red. The only real double red card in the deck is actually Searing Blaze, but being able to like play multiple red spells in a turn is something that's desirable. And late game we should have enough enough black to cast in Vicar's Justice and so on. So the main game plan of this deck is to like play a Thermo-Alchemist and then kill your opponent's threats while doming them out, and casting like Blightning and like Funeral Charm to clear the way out of removal spells for like Gurmag Anglers. So outside of Thermo-Alchemists, the opponent probably thinks you have very few creatures, thus making their removal spells quite bad. So when you're like Blightning them, they don't want to discard their Mulldrifters and stuff, and then that's when you like follow up with like a big Angler to hopefully finish them off. Now if the Thermo-Alchemist gets killed, we can certainly go long. Anyway, so we have like a full boat of Night's Whisper. They are cheap, which is good with Thermo-Alchemist, and it lets you keep 2 landers more often, or at least with more confidence, because you're more likely to hit the 3rd and so on. There are a bunch of like 3 mana cards that seem kind of contradictory. Like there's another Read the Bones, which goes well with like the Night's Whisper thing. I wanted more than 4 card draw spells. There's like a couple of Phyrexian Ragers, not a bunch, because we're not really like maxing out on like the 3 drops so much. Our 3 drops are more like to support our other cards. We have cards which fulfill multiple overlapping purposes. Like this is a 2-for-1 if they're playing small creatures and like goes to the face. This is a 2-for-1. Also goes to the face when like the discard's not that important. Brush with Death is as a pet card, and it fulfills a similar purpose to say like a Siphon Life, where you like once you're out of doing other things, you start doming the opponent. This deck, it's similar to in Vicar's Justice in the sense that you can sort of just play it continuously at the end of the game to kill your opponent. And it looks goofy, but I swear in so many games I played with this deck where like I've killed a bunch of their things, and they've killed some of my things and nothing is happening. All I ever want to draw is Brush with Death to seal the game up. There's like a Pristine Talisman to support an Invicar's Justice late game plan, and like we are a late game deck, we can actually use the mana compared to the other deck, the other Rakdos deck. We're not going all in on it. It's basically replacing like the Radiant Fountain slot, and I think that if your opponent sees it in game one, they may well bring in like Smash to Smithereens, and we only have one, so it raises the chances that they'll board in a dead card. We also have a bunch of Anglers, since it's great. We have a Sprinting Warbrute. This one looks a bit weird, but quite often, like, opponents will have like a bunch of Chainer's Edicts and stuff, and just like a dashing 5-power creature is actually pretty hard for them to beat, especially if you've been Blightninging their removal spells away. Casting it is not unheard of. Like, there's actually not that many things that can kill it in certain matchups, so it's not horrendous, but just having like a buyback 5 damage spell when you've got nothing else going on is great. So yeah, everything is sort of built towards the plan of kill your opponent's things or deplete their resources while incidentally chipping away at them and hopefully winning from there. Funeral Charms are like over duress, since like a couple of duress would be totally acceptable, but you can sometimes mise people a bit more by making them discard when they're not expecting it. It can also be used to kill Delvers and like Quirion Rangers and that sort of thing, and it can also be very relevantly used to give Gurmag Angler Swamp Walk, which has happened multiple times. So it's actually, and it's also it's more aggressive than a duress, since you can also just get an extra 2 points of damage out of it. The sideboard has a couple of Martyr of Ashes. Like, we're more red focused, so we can actually play some of these. This gets around a lot of the cards that like elves play in order to avoid being wrathed by Electrickery. Now, Electrickery is still good, and it's still good against Delvers and Sprites and stuff, whereas Martyr of Ashes is not. But I think our matchup against like 1/1 flyers is not too bad anyway, especially like we still have Pyroblast and things. So how good this is against other decks is really sweet. Gorilla Shaman, yep, against Affinity, no surprises here. And against the control matchups we have are like Pyroblasts. We have some duress, like discards things. And we have a couple of Grotesque Mutations. I haven't seen that much burn, other than like one daily event recently where I played against it like 3 or 4 times. We are definitely not that great against burn if we don't hit one of these, but you can't be good against everything, right? Whether this deck is good against anything is is open to interpretation. So I will also be diving into a league with this deck. I'll see you there.